Hi everybody, welcome back. Happy Halloween to everybody here in the United States. And it's also Friday night, so I'm sure everybody is out enjoying trick-or-treating with their kids if they have kids, or maybe out enjoying some good fun at a party or something. I am not. My daughter is just barely 7 months old. We did take her out briefly for a walk and put a pumpkin costume on my dog, but next year I think we'll do a little bit more. Anyways, this video is going to cover the week 5 recap, which is the last week of October, and then I'm also going to roll in the October recap, so I'm doing it all in one. So it might run just a tad bit longer here, but I'll do my best to not ramble too much. So just real quick, as always, for the new viewers here, I'm completely living out of my brokerage account at this point. I've actually opened up Schwab bank account. I've gotten the debit card. I've changed all of my accounts over to the Schwab account. Everything is now coming out of it, so I'm officially living out of it 100%. So as you can see here, all of the income that I receive, which I'll cover here more in depth in a second, goes into the brokerage account now. And then when it goes in, I invest it into high yield, dividend growth, and just growth buckets, 50, 25, and 25%. And then 50%, roughly 50% of the net value of the account is used to sell puts for additional income. All of the income generated pays my monthly expenses. What that income does not cover, I use margin to pay the rest of it. And then while expenses are more than income generated, margin pays the remainder, as I just mentioned. And eventually the income generated will overtake that and be more than my expenses. And at that point, technically don't have to work any longer because my expenses would be 100% paid by what this brokerage account is able to produce. So jumping into it real quick here, going into the weekly update as always, go over the trades and the dividends. First, we'll cover the dividends for the week. WPay paid me $125.11. YMAX paid $38.78. Ulti paid $84.80. Got a nice 2-share QQQ dividend of $1.39. Same with SPY, 2 shares, $3.66. Misty, $104.86. And XDTE, $125.43. I also, you'll see here, was charged my margin interest for the month of October in the amount of $71.21. I'll cover that a little bit more in depth here when I jump into more of the monthly recap portion. For the options trades, what I had open last week, let's start with puts. I had a CRM position. I was able to buy that back today for $1.01. Target, same thing. I was able to buy it back for $1.01. Same thing with Procter & Gamble. So all of these were 100% successful. I was able to collect and keep almost 100% of the premium. And then BITX, which I've been rolling for a little while, I did roll it again. Tried to roll down one strike earlier in the day. I had the opportunity, couldn't get it filled, and the price ended up dropping, and I wasn't able to actually get a credit by rolling down another strike. So I rolled it at the same strike to the 52. So I kept it at 52, rolled it out another week. So you can see here I paid $393.66 to close it, and then subsequently sold another put on it expiring next week, of course, at the 52. Like I said, kept the same strike, but rolled it out 1 week, and I was able to collect almost $60 in premium, roughly $60 in premium. So net credit still. So I'm still rolling it, kicking the bucket down the road, and I'll dive into the actual where we stand on that right now in a second. But first, and then lastly, I wanted to cover Starbucks on here. I had been rolling a call a couple of times trying to get out of it. I rolled it through earnings, which was yesterday. The earnings weren't as good. Stock dropped, and I was able to get out of this. So I have no open call positions or covered call positions on anything that I want to lose, which is good. So I've got my 200 shares of Starbucks. I've got no open options positions. I don't have to worry about them getting called away anymore. I very rarely or will not be selling calls on shares I don't want to lose anymore. In the event that maybe I want some extra premium or it makes sense, I might, but I'm pretty much going to stay away from it for the most part. Also, on SPY here, I don't know why I put this as options. I just messed that up. These are dividends. I was confused there for a second. So then going into what I sold this week. So like I said, I rolled the BITX position. I sold another target position. I've been selling target basically every week here for a little while. but I was able to sell it at the 90, so it's $1 less than last week. And I was able to, so what I did is I actually sold it at a little bit higher delta than I have been, not by much, but 18 delta last week, sold it at 23 delta. From a technical analysis standpoint, I like the $90 strike. It's actually less than, I thought about going 91 because the 91 is sitting right on a technical, I don't want to get too much into it, but it's sitting on a price point that I think is a support level. And I've seen it bounce off that number quite a few times. I do use some technical analysis here and there. I'm not a pro or anything like that, but so that's why I chose the 90. I didn't want to be too aggressive and go 91, so I decided to go down one more strike at 90. It's been kind of hovering in this range anyway, so I was comfortable with that. And with that, I was able to receive a little bit more premium. So instead of $46 last week, I got $56. They also just had earnings recently. So I got a total of $55.34 in premium for that. We'll see how it does next week. Now that earnings are done for most of the tech companies, I sold a put on Google. I sold it at the 10 delta, very, very conservative. 265 strike. I know it's gone up a lot in the last couple of days from earnings, but this is a position that if I was assigned, I would consider keeping it and then kind of taking a loan against myself. And then any deposits I have come in, rather than immediately invest them, I'd kind of use it to pay back this Google position over time. Not sure if I'm going to continue to do that, but it is an option to kind of take a loan against myself because I am still underweighted on my growth pie, or I guess we'll call it a pie, as I've mentioned before, which I'll go into here in a second. And last but not least, ASTS. I opened a position in this last week, I think it was, small position. So I sold a put on it today. Again, I'd be comfortable holding these shares if it happened, if I got assigned, but I did sell it very conservatively at the 9 delta, quantity 167 strike a week from today, and I received $54 in premium. ASTS also has a very, very high implied volatility. It has for a while. It's been kind of hovering in this range, so I was comfortable with this number being the strike price. Going up to the top here, as you've probably already read, but run through it real quick, my margin balance currently sits at $51.8885. This week's deposit was $2,221. You can clearly see here what I've made. Total income was $33.87. Options, dividends, other is going to be my margin interest here. And then I currently have $47,400 in open puts. And then a new addition to the portfolio, I don't have it. Oh, you know what? I'm dumb. These are options, and I forgot to cover these. So I did add put insurance to my portfolio. So in the event that the market drops significantly, I bought 2 SPY puts and bought 2 QQQ puts. This says QQQI. Clearly my mind's not all there today. So I went 20% out of the money. So you can see I bought 2 SPY puts at 546, bought 2 QQQ puts at 500, roughly about 30 days out. I think they were about 32 days. The delta on these were like 0.01. So 32 days, you can see here the premium that I paid for them. So total I paid $160.64. So this is something I'm comfortable paying for each month. In the event that the market drops significantly, these will shoot up in value. I can use them to I can sell them and use them to purchase other shares of stuff that's down as well. It also keep the margin maintenance up a bit. So I'm just considering it like umbrella coverage or just car insurance coverage or something like that for my portfolio. So I'll be doing this going forward, trying to keep it in this range somewhere, and then somewhere 30 days out and 15 to 20%. I like 20%. Some might say that's too conservative, but I like 20% just to be really, really safe. I'm trying to be as safe as possible with this. So just wanted to go through that real quick. BITX I said I'd cover. Where are we sitting on this right now? So as I said, I rolled the position. So I paid $393.66 today to buy that back, and then subsequently sold another put for $459.34. So I received a little bit of net credit there, $50 to $60. Which now, if I was assigned at the current 52 strike, I'd have to pay $5,200 for those shares. My break-even strike, as of right now, if I got assigned, would be $49.25. Current price of BITX sits at $48.58, so not bad. So if I had taken assignment and it was sitting at this price, I could sell less than $1 up. So I'd be basically selling at the money if I just want to get out of the position. for a break even, and that wouldn't even include the premium I'd get for selling that call at the money. So I'm close to maybe taking assignment on this. I was almost able to get out of it altogether yesterday. It had risen up and then dropped again today. So it just didn't quite work out where I was able to close it in time. I don't check the market all the time. Part of this strategy is not having to, stare at the market every day. I check in a couple times a day, but I set all of my alerts and I set all of my limit close to do everything that it needs to do in the background. And then when it happens, I act accordingly. So going into the Snowball account, I started recently using this. I've gone it over a few times now. I really like it. I'm going to continue to use it. I've put a link in my description for every video if you guys want to check it out. It is in there. You can also see what I'm invested in, which is pretty cool. So just running through these, nothing's changed on these other than the amounts and the values, obviously, but I have not purchased any high yield stuff in the last couple weeks. Same with dividend growth. I'm still sitting on a share of Costco, 200 of Starbucks, and 107 of Pepsi. And then growth, I did add, which I have here, and I'm going to show it in my actual account because Snowball didn't update one of my positions for some reason. So I bought, with my weekly deposit this week, I bought 4 more shares of Microsoft, and then I bought 5 shares of SoFi. So I've added SoFi into what will be the growth. Like I said, they haven't updated it yet, but when they do, I'll make sure and put it into this category. So I'm going to have SoFi in here as well. And I'll probably keep it at like 2%, like ASTS, because I consider it kind of a riskier, more of a speculative, even though they've had great earnings and, are close or if not already profitable. I do really like the company, and I think they've got a good shot of succeeding in the future. So I'm adding them. They're also a little bit on the cheaper end. So I had a little bit of cash to spend, and I thought they were a good price point to add to the portfolio. So that's the update on that. Portfolio value sits at 107,302. My passive income percentage is dropping just because I keep investing in growth. So with the deposit today, I'm now up to 12.6% in this category. I'm shooting for 25. Still got a little ways to go, but we're getting closer. I'll keep going until we get there or close to it, and just kind of gauge it accordingly as the market kind of tells me what to do. Going into the calendar real quick for this coming week. This is the last day of October. Tomorrow is the 1st of November. So is it already on November? It is. Okay. So we are going to be looking at the JEPI, JEPI payout, and WPay, of course, OLT and YMAX. GPIX will pay out, MISTI and XDTE. So mostly digital stuff, except we'll get JEPI and GPIX. Quickly going into the monthly stuff. So I wanted to cover where we're sitting on the account. So total deposits for the month of October, $24,866.64 is what I put into the account. The gross account value on October 1st was $98,498. The margin balance was at $16,128. This is all as of October 1st. And then in October, I made $1,463 in options premium. And then dividends and distributions, I made $2,156.30, pretty close to the high here. Hopefully, once I get back to putting more money into that high yield stuff, I'll surpass that pretty quickly. Margin interest, I paid $71.21 this month. So my net income for the month of October was $3,387, which I've covered already. My current equity percentage sits at 95. I don't want to get below 60, so I'm doing well ahead. I'm well ahead of that, so I'm not too worried about it. I've just recently started paying bills out of the account. A lot of stuff hasn't come due and won't come due until like the middle of November. So by the end of November, the margin balance will go up a bit more. The equity percentage will start to drop more. But so far, so good. So as of November 1st, obviously that's first thing tomorrow morning, but I'm assuming it's the 1st. My gross account value right now sits at $107,483.53, and my current margin balance is $5,188. So this will be cool to see as we get down a little more here. The line here is obviously as I switch to the new strategy of completely living out of my account rather than just making $6,000 deposits. You can see how quickly it's already starting to grow. But even since June, when I started doing just the 6,000, you can see how much it's grown. So this is going to get exponentially larger, and it's going to be fun to see. I'm excited to keep going on this. And going into the high yield dividends, I wanted to cover real quick. So just for high yield stuff, 2,065.98 in the month of October, which is all of these. But more importantly, I like to track the total return. So the only of the high yield stuff, the only ones that the only one I'm not positive on is Misty. So Misty has dropped a lot recently. It's sitting at 1089. I bought back in January, but didn't really go real heavy into in February until February. So bad news is I'm down 8.82%. The good news is I've received 50% of my initial investment back already. So another 6 to 8 months, I'm hoping I'll be fully paid back. I'm hoping it's also going to start to go up. I'm hoping they might trade or change their strategy a bit. I'm hoping that Mr. will go up, MSTR, which is what it's based on. Mr. has been dropping pretty crazily for a little while now. So once that goes back up, maybe I'll get back to even or slightly above again. 8.82, I feel like with everything that's been going on is not terrible. Still getting weekly distributions now that it's switched. I'm just going to hold. I'm not adding anymore. I'm going to see what happens. Ulti, same thing. It's been dropping like crazy. I'm still positive on it. Total return wise, 3.56%. So I'm just going to continue to hold. It's kind of been hovering around this $5 price for a while. My cost base is 606. And I won't go through every single one of these, but you can see I've got YMAX, XTTE. You can see the total returns here. Double digits on XTTE and SPYI. I've mentioned on some Discord channels and things like that I really like SDTE. I really like SPYI as well. GPIX is up there also. I just haven't had it as long, but I'm already up 8.5% on it. WPay is new. I'm already up 5%. So I really, really like these. To be honest, I'm not a huge fan of the yield max stuff at the moment. It's all really dropping. YMAX has been okay. But I'm really liking the other stuff. XTTE, SPYI, GPIX, stuff from Roundhill, stuff from Neos. I'm really, really liking. I will add more of these high yield types of funds as I start investing in it more, because the goal is to have positions not be more than 5% ideally. It's going to take a while to get there, but that's what I'm shooting for. So without rambling on any further, I've covered that. The last thing I wanted to cover was just the portfolio's performance. So where is it? Here we go. So on the 3-month, and I've been changing the strategy up and changing some different things lately. But my account is sitting at 6.57% return. So I am trailing the Russell. I'm trailing actually everything on the 3-month period. But I'm not too concerned. Not too concerned about like really any of this, but it's just fun to show. I think this will get better though now that the strategy is kind of in place and I'm getting a little bit more familiar with it. Going to the 1 year, 21.54% for my portfolio. So I am beating everything except for the NASDAQ. This is according to Schwab. This does take out contributions and withdrawals and everything as well. So according to Schwab, I am beating everything but the NASDAQ. There's not a lot that's beating the NASDAQ right now. Tech is just going crazy with AI. So 27.58 year to date. I am currently at 16.17. Again, almost beating the S&P 500, slightly behind, 1% behind the S&P 500, but beating everything else and still getting killed by the NASDAQ. And lastly, Maxis is overall. This is not totally accurate because I haven't been running this strategy for that long, only since June. But still kind of cool to look at. So this is as of May of 2024. My account's at 24.75. And again, the only thing I'm trailing is the NASDAQ. So not bad. These numbers I think are going to get much, much better in the next like 12 months, maybe even 6 months, depending on how the market's doing. So without running too long again on this account, I think I covered everything. I wanted to go through the weekly and the recap for October. And of course, if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, a request for a video, explanation further, anything like that, let me know. As I mentioned, the Snowball link, if you want to see my holdings, is in the description. I also have a Discord channel. I just kind of started up and thinking about just putting on there for fun. It's free. If anybody wants to get in there and just chat during the day, I'm pretty responsive overall, so look at that. I'll start putting that in the description as well. Other than that, happy Halloween again, everybody. I hope everybody gets lots of candy and has a good time with their kids if you have kids. If not, at your parties, be safe, and we'll see you guys on the next video.